It's time to talk about literally everyone on Earth's favorite topic, which is of course how AI is going to steal our jobs, replace humans, and ultimately lead us into a dark and twisted, depressing and dystopian version of reality. Oh yes, super cheery stuff. But here's the deal.
Listen to me very carefully.
This is actually a really important thing because we're not there yet to the point where AI has stolen all the jobs, has replaced human contact, and has led us into the most dark and twisted version of the metaverse. But the writing is on the wall right now. And in my opinion, the next few years are going to be the only chance to actually break out and be on the other side of this technological trend that is destined to completely rewrite the laws of our current society and most importantly, our economy. Today, we're going to be talking about how AI is going to replace jobs, completely lower or eliminate the opportunities for most average workers in the workplace, how the businesses that take advantage of this will effectively be the only ones that benefit, and what inevitably will be the economic consequences of all these things happening. And yes, in the end, I'm going to be explaining why scarce assets and really financial markets will explode on the back of this because it all has a financial component. And in my opinion, the people who think a few steps ahead on the chessboard are going to be the ones that benefit from this disproportionately. It's not even close. The people who understand what's going to happen are going to not only be the richest in the world, but they're going to be the only rich people in the world. That's how I see it. If you guys are excited for it, smash that like button and let's jump in. Now, what set off this new wave of conspiracy theories, and let's just be real, reality theories about what's going to happen with AI was the advent of a brand new application called ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT was started by OpenAI, which is a foundation created by Elon Musk and several other heavyweights in Silicon Valley. And in just a few days after launch, it quickly reached over 1 million users. For context, here's how long it took other of the most household name popular apps on the internet to reach 1 million users. We have Netflix, 3.5 years, Airbnb, 2.5 years, Facebook, 10 months, Spotify, 5 months, Instagram, 2.5 months, iPhone, 74 days, and ChatGPT, just 5 days. Now, I know what you're going to say. All of these came earlier in the internet. It's kind of like how you see every new show on Netflix is the top show in history on Netflix, and you see that headline. Well, Netflix is just bigger, has more subscribers and more viewers. So the new stuff always has more viewers, catches on quickly. Well, that's kind of true here that ChatGPT is benefiting from the widespread mass adoption of the internet, the proliferation of social media, and of course, it's going to catch on faster than Netflix, which was much earlier in the history of the internet. But that doesn't quite explain it because ChatGPT has for the first time democratized and opened up the real possibilities of AI, making it so obvious for the first time just how sophisticated and how easily average people can tap in to the absolute astounding power of artificial intelligence. That's right, with just a simple prompt, anyone can get the AI to spin up an absolutely perfect academic essay on any topic, using any prose, using any tone. You can use this AI to generate tweets for you. Now, ChatGPT is by the same company that created something called DALL-E, which is an artificial intelligence-based image generator, which at first started creating all kinds of weird stuff. But as time went on, the actual outputs coming from this artificial intelligence generator started to match even the most profound and prolific pieces of art. It is now indistinguishable, the artificial intelligence-generated art from that of a human hand. Creativity, one of the things that humans are thought to uniquely possess, has started to be overtaken by the machines. So now let's talk about this. In a world where AI is advancing rapidly, and for the first time, we are able to en masse experience the magic, the potential, the power, and now the absolute frightening realities of AI reaching levels where it can start to indistinguishably and almost instantly produce the highest levels of human output. It begs the question, where is this all leading? Let's dive into the first surface point. That's a little more fun. AI is going to rapidly take over content generation. In the future, it'll be easy to auto-generate an episode of your favorite show with a plot of your choosing. If there's enough data out there about what a character looks like or sounds like, it's only a matter of time before that character can be recreated doing whatever you want. For example, I might be able to generate my own custom episode of Seinfeld, where George gets lost at Dodger Stadium, gets in an argument with a little kid who's eating too much ice cream, lame. The point is not that this is going to be the best episode of Seinfeld, but the point is that creativity and content itself might be completely and radically transformed. We're also seeing advances with coding. I asked some of my developers at my company to start playing around with it, and with basic stuff, the AI engine is already producing a rock solid code if you want basic website code. For example, you could ask for a footer of a website in a specific language with 3 columns, and it'll spit it out for you almost perfectly. You can also use it to debug code. These are things that software engineers get paid a lot of money to do. Now, of course, with more advanced things like Solidity and blockchain, where there's less historical data and code to analyze, of course, the AI still struggles there. It'll be many, many years before software developers are no longer required for the job of coding. But when you ask a software developer, hey, can you do this for me? The first thing they do is goes and searches for something similar that's already built. You can think of AI as now providing that starting point. But let's talk about some of the harsh realities that are starting to become ever clearer as we finally have in our hands some of the most powerful AI tooling that we've seen to date. This is a comment that truly caught my attention and summarizes a huge amount of the implications with AI. I spent decades of my life learning foreign languages only to see the translation industry destroyed by AI. The inferiority of the machine translations a few years back did not stop the destruction of the industry. The machine translation costs nothing, and so the price for all translation came crashing down. Because the bottom feeders used machine translation, I found myself being paid half price to just edit, as if it was less work, a translation done by a machine which was basically unintelligible, so that I had to go back to the original and translate it myself. Most clients, the bottom of the pyramid that kept the industry going, did not care about the quality of the translation. If we expect clients prioritizing human-made products to save industries, we are being very delusional. The vast majority of clients will go for the process that costs less. Now we get to the crux of the issue, which is that even if human-made products are ever so slightly better, ever so slightly higher quality, the business logic about using something slightly inferior to get way more productivity at a fraction or almost zero cost, well, of course, you can see how business owners are going to choose that option every single time, depending on the machines, while getting way more, and they can pass that savings along to the customers. This isn't just happening with the written word, though you can assume that teachers are going to have a very hard time figuring out which are the good students when all of the students are simply just getting AI written essays. I mean, how do you teach a kid to write? Is writing even a skill that humans will need to master going forward in the world of such advanced chat-based AI? And then what happens to a role of the teacher going forward? Maybe AI is a far better, superior, more impactful teacher. And the implications of this affect all kinds of normal jobs: teachers, translators, truck drivers, factory workers. These are all jobs that will inevitably be replaced by AI. We know that there's issues with the supply chain that are hurting the whole economy. Well, what happens when the supply chain is inevitably automated by such advanced artificial intelligence, and shipping pallets can automatically be transferred from the boat to the truck, driven without a driver across the country in electric cars, and then parked and automatically unloaded by robots? Might have seemed like the work of science fiction years ago, but now it seems like you're crazy not to believe that that's where the world is going. So let's get to the point here. The point is that the vast majority of jobs will get automated out of existence. Even skilled jobs like rudimentary checkups at the doctor, you'd imagine could start to be done more and more by sophisticated AI. If you're just diagnosing a fever or having people check in with common symptoms. But let's even think deeper as AI starts to work on the most complex problems like cancer and other types of unique diseases that humans simply don't have the capacity to solve. It's not just the menial worker that'll get affected by this, it's even skilled workers, highly skilled workers, previously prized professions. You can start to see how the rise of AI will threaten jobs across the entire economy. And what happens in a world where humans are just simply not really needed to make the world go round? What happens when the cost of production and consumption goes almost to zero? Does that mean that things will all be free? Does that mean that everyone will be able to enjoy life without paying a dime? Will we own nothing and be happy as the World Economic Forum wants us to? Is this the future that we're headed to? Well, I'm not so sure. The reality for me is that when most of the workers within any kind of business are inevitably machines, that leaves two types of participants: the business owners and the consumers. In a world where there are business owners and consumers, you better bet your bottom dollar that I want to be one of the business owners. Because business owners that weaponize this AI to create better and more sophisticated businesses, well, they're going to be the ones going to war with each other. But inevitably, there will be businesses that leverage these technologies to create better products, better product experiences, and effectively take bigger market share. It's inevitable. I don't see this as the death of business, but I do see this as a huge threat to the average worker. So let's take this one step further. What happens when the average person has very little prospects of becoming a prestigious owner, an owner of the means of production, someone who can actually take advantage of this AI and make money? I'd imagine that that bar will start to get higher and higher over time, but it hasn't started just yet, which means that there's still hope to become one of those business owners that gets ahead of this change. I believe that focusing on creating a business that can actually leverage these changes is one of the biggest opportunities right now that will absolutely disappear as the technology becomes more ingrained and the competition to get into that position, to get into that chair, becomes almost insurmountable. But it's not just with business. The next few years are going to be critical for asset ownership. You see, what's a natural consequence of this technology proliferating is that average jobs, average workers, will no longer have the ability to no longer differentiate themselves with higher skills. That means that more and more people will have the choice to either go hungry, go homeless, or beg the government for more money. At a certain point, the numbers will be the numbers. There will be enough of a push, enough of a need for the government to supplement the lives of everyday individuals that I believe all of this leads to a universal basic income. Now, this is one of my biggest predictions from this video. AI will necessitate the government providing some level of safety net for its citizens, because if it doesn't, there will be mass civil unrest. And mass civil unrest is not something that any government is prepared to deal with. I promise you that. That means that over a long enough period of time, we will see more and more governments look to weekly, monthly, daily subsidize the lifestyles of everyday individuals. And that is where we actually have some amazing data to understand what we can look forward to. Now, what you see on the screen is the M2 money supply. Now, we can see right here what exactly happened when the government, for the first time in history, started offering stimulus to its citizens. That's right, the COVID pandemic and its subsequent stimmy checks that went out to everyday citizens are the biggest indication of what might happen in a world with UBI. We've seen exactly what happens when the government opens up its coffers, or more importantly, creates entirely new wells of coffers, printing and sending money to everyday citizens in mass. Well, guess what happens to the dollar in that situation? It rapidly tries to find its way in to assets with some semblance of scarcity. We saw skyrocketing levels across the stock market, private company valuations, used cars, jewelry, and of course, cryptocurrencies. Anything with any kind of scarcity or value to humans went up dramatically in value. So what's going to happen in a world where we're destined, inevitably, to have a UBI to effectively prevent mass civil unrest? What's going to happen when people are hungry, have no means of human transportation, no access to services? In my opinion, in this world, a universal basic income is almost guaranteed. And the ensuing inflation, devaluation of the dollar, and skyrocketing value of assets is something that, in my opinion, would be written in the stars. Now, will this happen next year? Of course not. Sure, it might happen even faster than we could imagine. Humans have a tough time grasping exponential growth curves, which is, of course, the pace of innovation within AI. As the more sophisticated AI gets, the faster it learns. That's increasing the pace of innovation, which steepens the curve of its advancement. These are tricky things to grasp, but just know the age of AI is upon us. It will wipe out jobs and diminish the value of human contributions to the workforce. And most importantly, I believe it will inevitably lead to a universal basic income, which, if 2020 and 2021 are any guide, will inevitably send the value of assets, of foods, of goods, of services through the roof. So what does it all mean? It means that the next few years are the time to prepare. If you want to own assets that could skyrocket in value and inevitably protect you and your family in some way from being completely dependent on government programs, well, I believe the next few years could be your only time to do that. And what does it mean for our precious bags, our beloved tech stocks, and of course, our cryptocurrencies? Well, the writing's on the wall here that, of course, scarce assets like Bitcoin, like in-demand stocks, and of course, technology stocks that leverage the most important trends in AI and advancement, well, the value of those could reach astronomical levels. Because let's be honest, as long as they're denominated in dollars, there's not really any top, considering the US dollar has no bottom. This is all part of the lead up, the great shakeout of our generation. And I believe for many reasons on the other side of this bear market, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, You name it. I'm going to be working hard trying to position myself for the inevitabilities ahead, the digitization of our society, the proliferation of AI, and of course, the rapid devaluation of the dollar that is as dependable as the sun rising in the morning and setting in the evening. As always, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. If you want more episodes like it, make sure you subscribe with that bell notification on. Now, as promised, I said I would give away 1 Ethereum to someone who commented on the Superverse video. So of course, we're going to do that now. The Superverse video is where we introduce the relaunch of the project I founded that has multiple products in market. We're extremely proud of it. Please go check out the Superverse relaunch video. It's really important. If you followed the Superfarm project at all, this is the relaunch. Wow, we have 1,748 comments. Let's go ahead and pick someone. Here we have Preston R. Elio, you're a true believer in this ecosystem. Thanks for all the hard work and great content. My favorite part of the video is the dashboard. Impressive. Go imposters. Okay, Preston, what I need you to do is leave a comment under your YouTube video from the very same account you commented with. I'll interact with you and make sure to get you that 1 Ethereum. Thanks to everyone who commented and who supported. For everyone wondering what was in that video, check it out. We have Gigamart NFT, which is part of the Superverse, formerly called Superfarm. This was a team of over 50 people that worked on this project and contributed for literally what feels like forever. Please check it out. We put our hearts and souls into it. There's no fees. It's an amazing platform. Anyway, please check out Gigamart. We believe it's what the industry needs to move forward. As always, my name is EllioTrades. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.